Welcome to Redmond Deep Dive, where we take a closer look at the latest technology trends and news from Microsoft and beyond. I'm your host, Chris Paoli.
And I'm David Rammel. It's June, and we've got a couple of fascinating articles to dive into today, Chris.
That's right, David. Our first piece comes from Joseph D'Antoni, an architect and SQL Server MVP with over 2 decades of experience. He's written an insightful article about why Microsoft is still betting big on SQL Server in a cloud-first world.
It's an interesting question, isn't it? With all the focus on cloud services, why would Microsoft continue to invest in what's essentially an on-premises product?
According to Joey, it's actually a multifaceted strategy. For one thing, at least 10 products share SQL Server's source code, so developments can cascade across the product line. That creates a common developer experience across Fabric, SQL Server, and Azure SQL Database.
That makes sense from a development perspective. But what about from the customer side? Why would organizations still want on-premises database solutions?
There are several compelling reasons. One is avoiding cloud lock-in. D'Antoni points out that once your data exceeds a certain size in a cloud database, it becomes incredibly difficult to migrate without significant downtime.
And then there's the cost factor, right? The article challenges the oversimplified notion that the cloud is cheaper than on-premises.
Exactly. For large database workloads that use substantial amounts of ultra-fast storage and memory at high utilization over long periods, on-premises solutions can be more cost-effective. Cloud services often tie storage volume to compute capacity, meaning as your data grows, you have to pay for more computing power, whether you need it or not.
The article also highlights 3 key enterprise demands: security, performance, and availability. SQL Server has been addressing these for years.
Right. And SQL Server 2025 continues that tradition with improvements to availability groups and new AI features, including a bring your model approach that addresses some AI security concerns.
It's clear that operational databases remain business critical, recording everything from sales orders to bank transactions. No wonder Microsoft's database revenue is reportedly around $14 billion annually.
Moving to our second article, we have a piece by Andy Patrizio about Microsoft's pause on some data center expansion projects. This caused quite a stir when it hit the news.
People really did hit the panic button on this one, didn't they? Microsoft announced it was slowing or pausing some data center construction, including a $1 billion project in Ohio and a $3.3 billion project in Wisconsin.
But Andy argues there's no reason for alarm. This isn't a sign that demand for AI technology is slowing down. In fact, multiple companies in the data center space, including Vertiv, Amazon, and NVIDIA, have stated that data center sales and construction remain strong.
Microsoft's own statement about the Wisconsin pause mentioned evaluating scope and recent changes in technology that might impact facility design. That makes a lot of sense when you consider how rapidly AI hardware is evolving.
Absolutely. Some of these facilities weren't expected to go online until 2027 or later. Think about how much the AI landscape has changed just in the 2 years since ChatGPT appeared. Planning too far ahead with today's technology could mean your data center is obsolete before it even opens.
And let's not forget that Microsoft is still massively investing in data center infrastructure overall. Their CapEx jumped from $35 billion in 2023 to $75 billion in 2024. And Satya Nadella has said they'll spend upwards of $85 billion in 2025.
The article also addresses reports about OpenAI shifting some workloads to Oracle, clarifying that this is an expansion, not a move away from Microsoft. OpenAI explicitly stated they will continue to increase its consumption of Azure.
So in the grand scheme of things, Microsoft postponing leases for a few hundred megawatts of power while signing leases for more than 20 gigawatts is just a minor adjustment, not slamming on the brakes.
These 2 articles really showcase the complexity of Microsoft's strategy. continuing to invest in traditional products like SQL Server, while carefully managing their massive data center expansion for cloud and AI services.
That's what makes following Microsoft so interesting. They're balancing multiple technological transitions simultaneously, on-premises to cloud, traditional computing to AI, all while trying to serve diverse customer needs.
Well, that wraps up our discussion for this month's Redmond Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and remember to check out redmondmag.com for the full articles and much more Microsoft news and analysis.
And we'll be back next month with more in-depth coverage of the Microsoft ecosystem. Until then, I'm David Rammel.
And I'm Chris Paoli. See you next time on Redmond Deep Dive.